Okay, so I've had this one for a few days now, and I just keep putting little pieces on it, a little bit at a time. Got a new ignition solenoid. I put that on there now. You can start it with the key. New choke lever, new, well, the whole assembly, but the choke was what wasn't working. Got that fixed and put in yesterday. So the only thing left is the pulleys on this, and they're taking forever to get here. So I messaged the owner of the mower to tell them that I messaged them, you know, the delivery, what do you call that? Notice, when, you know, the shipping notice. And then picked this up today. I've had several of these in the last few weeks. Carburetor's $8. So it's so much easier just to grab a new carburetor. I got this a while back, a few days ago. He wanted me to fix it, but there is so much wrong with it. The engine's going to need to be rebuilt. All new fuel lines, new battery cables. And that's just to see if we can get it started. It won't turn over. The piston was locked up. The rings were locked up in the cylinder. So I put oil in there and tried to break it loose, but I feel like I lost compression when I did that, which is going to happen. So, you know, rings are probably stuck into the piston. But it is a John Deere with a good hood. That hood is $300 to, well, I don't know, $300, $600 new. So if mine ever breaks on my John Deere, I got another hood. The tires are all good. The deck seems to be pretty good, so it might be worth hanging on to. But that being said, it also has a good wire harness, which is important. Right here, all these wires, because this mower over here, well, now I say that, I just saw that it had been fixed. I wonder what that is all about. There's two wires here that looks like it's been reconnected. Yeah, mouse has been on it, but they must have fixed it. But it's in better shape. There's another spot. Anyway, still in better shape than the one we got over here. But the mower is in better shape. This Troy built. So I matched up the key ignition. It's a 6-pin. Both of them are 6-pin. So this one I think has more safeties, like a reverse safety and that kind of stuff, that the other one doesn't. But I don't need all that stuff. But then we can replace this harness. You can see it's just, the mouse got a hold of it and chewed it all to pieces. So I'm going to work on this fall. Of course, I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to donate it. Since everything was free, the wire harness, which is $230 new, the lawnmower was free. I mean, I don't want to really give it away, but I don't have any use for it. The tires would fit the Beast. Both sets would fit the Beast. But I don't need tires because the Beast has perfectly good tires. So I'm going to donate it. Yeah, to the community for a raffle or a raffle or an auction, whatever they want to do to it. That, you know, give my name out a little bit and show that I'm a good community supporter and that kind of stuff. And I mean, it's only worth about $500 if I get it fixed up. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to come back over to the winch on the Beast. This is called a snatch block right here. And I don't care what you call it. What it does is it changes direction, or you can increase the pulling power depending on how you use it. In this case, if I run the cable down here, it's change of direction. So all I'm doing is bringing it down in that direction. So this is in case I need to tow something, you know, pull something out of a ditch or pull the Beast out of the ditch or whatever, I can run the cable down, loop it through the snatch block, and the way you work it is this pin comes out here, it unscrews. Try to do it so you can see it. And then this swings down. So all you gotta do is put your cable through it and then put it back together. Now, this was only 20 bucks. Now you can also use this to increase your winching power. So you have a 2,000 pound winch. So if you put this on the tow vehicle, so let's say, you know, my finger is a vehicle that needs to be towed, and then I run the cable through this and back to the mower. The winch only is taking half the weight of my finger, whereas the ball or whatever I hook the cable to, so it comes down and back in a triangle, takes the other portion. So that is no longer change of direction. That's increasing your pulling power. So I doubt if I ever need that. I'm not going to tow anything that heavy. Besides that, the truck, you know, the winch is hooked up to 2x4s, and this is hooked up to 2x4s. So I mean, it's only going to be able to take so much weight. And the beast, there's no way the beast can do 2,000 pounds, and that's what this winch is. So the transmission is only rated at 1,500 pounds to pull. So I don't know. I got a lot of trolls last night on the last video about the winch. I showed vulnerability in the video. It's kind of amazing how it works. In the video, I put the winch on, and I was really proud of it. I lifted a lawnmower up with it. Well, 2 of them actually. Did it 3 times in the video. But you saw the front wheels coming off the ground, and I knew that could be a possibility. It was going to be something I was going to have to deal with. So at the end of the video, I said, well, I think what I'm going to do is put some weights at the front end of the mower, and that should resolve my issue. Well, then the next day I came back and said, hey, you know what? I put a wheelie bar on it. And that was it. That's all they needed. They just needed some vulnerability. And oh, that is a terrible design. And they were talking about a snatch block just like that one. And they were saying how I should have lowered the winch down towards the ball hitch, ran it up to a snatch block. That would have increased your towing power and would also remove the fulcrum problem. No, it wouldn't have. It would have been the same problem, as a matter of fact. So what they did was try to sound intelligent while being more dumb than I was, and I knew I may have a problem with it. And so in the video that has not released yet, I show you how I actually resolved it, which was with just a strap. And so, you know, all I got to do is pick up the back end of the lawnmower, tie a strap to the tow vehicle, tie the strap to the beast, and that strap is what's doing the pulling now when the winch is just picking things up. And that way it works like a tow truck. Identical, actually. So I was also thinking about how else can I use the winch on the lawnmower. And there's a lot of things. I think about butchering deer. I butcher deer, but you got to hang in all that stuff. I have butchered deer. I haven't been deer hunting in years. Well, since the camper fire burned my guns. So if I would have to cut these ends off right here, but if I took a 2x4 and attached it to this 2x4 and ran it up as high as it would go, same thing with this side. So basically I'd be duplicating what I'm doing here, except it'd be higher up in the air. I'd take the winch cable, run it up into the air to the top of the however high I wanted it to go, and then get that snatch block, bring it down, and then I can lift things up as high as the house. Or however long the cable is. I think it's 40 feet. So I could go 20 feet up, 20 feet down, pick it up 20 feet is what it would be. That, of course, I would have to put a brace underneath it because there's no way that the lawnmower would, the lawnmower would fall over. So just put a brace up underneath it, and that would hold it up. And then I could pick up a deer, or, I mean, I don't know what else, but it'd be like a crane then. I remember my grandma and grandpa built a log home. I remember. Of course I remember. It was 2 stories. It was beautiful. It's a beautiful home. But when I was 14 years old, I spent every day of the summer over at Grandma's house stripping cedar trees. Not pine trees. I know the trolls know more about my grandma's house than I do. It's pine trees, you moron. No, it was cedar trees. Well, the summer before, we cut all those cedar trees down. Me, Grandpa, and Grandma. And Grandpa would pick the, Grandma would wrap a chain. Well, me and Grandma would wrap a chain around that log. Grandpa would come in with that 3-point hitch. The chain would lift that log up on one end, and he would drag those things out of the woods. I don't remember cutting the logs down, but I do remember dragging them out of the woods. So that must have been my job, was dragging them out of the woods, Grandpa, on that tractor. And then the next year, Grandma paid me like whatever minimum wage was back then, $2.50, $2.70, $3, whatever it was. And I had to take the bark of all those trees. And that was a fun year because Grandma had a Volkswagen, old Volkswagen Bug or Beetle or something. She let me drive that around on the farm. And so I during my breaks, drive around. But I would go home each night. Dad would drop me off. Dad got up at crazy hours. He'd get up like, I think, 2:30 in the morning, 3, whatever it was, and he'd drive me down to Grandma's while he was going to work, drop me off. I'd go in and lay down for the rest of the morning, and then Grandma would get me up for breakfast, and then I'd go over there and work all day. And the copperheads were everywhere. I remember running down the hill. I don't know what it was, black snake, I don't know. I was running down the hill. It was quitting time, and the lawnmower was down at the bottom hill, so I could go back to Grandma's house. And that snake was just crossed the road, the entire driveway, and I jumped over it, and that snake tried to bite me. So, I thought it was a black snake, but it could have been a cottonmouth, I guess. I don't know why. There was a creek over there, but when they loaded those logs, I saw one picture. Onto the house, they put them on the house. I saw one picture, and that's all. I didn't ever understand how they got the logs on the house and lifted up. Other than this one picture, Grandma and Grandpa had a cedar tree, a log, hooked up to that somehow or another, that 3-point hitch. And they were lifting the 3-point hitch up somehow or another. Again, all I saw was one picture, so I had to imagine how this worked. And they were picking up those cedar trees, those cedar logs that I'd stripped all year, and laying them up, stacking them up in a 2-story house. It must have been a fantastic project. And it was just the 2 of them. It's not like they had a big crew. But that's how Grandma and Grandpa and Dad and all them always thought. They always thought about just rigging stuff up. And so, if I ever needed a crane, it would not be hard to build a crane. I've got 2x4s here, I think are 30 feet long. They came with the siding of the house, the roofing material, the crates. I bought those crates. They were expensive, but I think it's maybe they're 20 feet long. Those crates might be 20 feet, or the 2x4s are 20 feet long. So I could lift things 20 feet high. I just have to have a support to hold it all together, and that wouldn't be hard. I mean, you could use an extension ladder to hold it up. It really wouldn't be a big deal. You just got to have a brace there, because there's no way the lawnmower, the fulcrum would just roll that thing backwards. So even a light load would roll it backwards pretty easy. But man, could you imagine lifting things up like a crane? That would be fun. I remember. Why do I keep saying I remember? Of course I remember. When I was putting in that well packer into the well, I had to drive the pipe down. It was very tight fitting. And so I had to come along, and I ran 2x4s across from one stump to another stump, screwed them into the stumps, and I was using that come along to pull that pipe down. But if I had that winch, I could use that snatch block back the lawnmower right up to the well, and I could have just pulled those things down one at a time, all with an electric winch. That would have been nice. But you know, I don't do much around here anymore. I know the subscribers or the trolls think I need to be, you know, buying things all the time. That's the thing, is yesterday the trolls were telling me all the things I needed to buy, and all I needed was a cargo strap. That's it. That's all I needed. So the people just overdo things and then tell you you're stupid because you didn't overdo it. Well, maybe it's not that I'm stupid, but you know, anytime you're pointing a finger at somebody, you got what, 3 pointing back at you right here. So if you think I'm stupid, just remember there's 3 pointing back at you. And mine didn't cost anything. I already had the strap. I got straps here holding the tarps down. I could grab one of those. That would work. I tell you, people just want to spend my money. So if you'll click this up next box to take to a video of our other channel, I'd really appreciate it if you go check it out. So if I can inspire you not to point 3 fingers at yourself. So you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.